It's not time to make a change. Just relax and take it easy. You're still young, that's your fault. There's so much you have to know. Find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can marry. Look at me, I am old, but I'm happy. I was once like you are now, and I know that it's not easy to be calm when you found something going on. But take your time, think a lot. Why think of everything you've got? For you will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. How can I try to explain? When I do, he turns away again. It's always been the same old story. From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. There's a way, and I know that I have to go away. I know I have to go.
All right, that's enough. That's enough of that song, guys. What was that song? Well, that song was Johnny Cash and Fiona Apple singing. What are they singing? Song called Father and Son. I don't know. If you pay attention to Instagram and Facebook, I posted that I'm going to be, gonna be doing a show today, guys, with my older son, Brian Jr. He's going to be joining the podcast here very shortly. I don't know. I'm not sure when. I'm texting him right now, trying to figure out. We planned on 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, EST, and I haven't heard back from him yet. So I just texted him. He said that's what was a good time for him, 2 o'clock Arizona time. So waiting on him to give me the go ahead. But in the meantime, and so I played that song up front. Got a little different setup, guys, today. I don't like it because it's different for one, but I don't like, I don't know, I just don't like the way it's set up. But I figured for the shot today, when I was doing the split screen and had him on the on the podcast with me, that I thought this would be a better angle because you'd be able to see the stuff on the wall back here, the Craft Conversations logo. I don't know. And then when I go back to this shot, you can see a little bit of that stuff on the wall as well. I don't know. I just thought it was maybe a better angle. I'm not too sure about it now, if I like it or not. And I got my other phone that I'm going to hook up here in just a second, now that Brian has told me that he is on his way home and getting ready, I guess. So, but this will be probably the shot that I'll use when I split the screen between the two of us. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But the song, so it's called Father and Son. So I figured what better song to play than Father and Son, because that's what's getting ready to happen. That's what's going down, guys. I'm a little nasally today. I don't know why. I woke up congested this morning. I've been like blowing my nose, like I've had so much snot come out of my head. I don't know where it, how it forms, how it gets there, because it's like somebody just poured a whole bunch of shit into my skull, and I've been blowing it out all day. I don't know why, but that's what's happening. Once he joins the show, well, fuck it. We'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit here, at least to right there, and then once he joins, we'll zoom in, get right up on my face. What is happening? Well, let's put some things up here. Let's do some house cleaning here while we're waiting. Let's add a different multi-view real quick. I know this is boring as shit, guys, but what are you gonna do? Do a picture-in-picture. That looks good. All right. Well, here's what we can talk about real quick, and we'll talk about it again once Brian joins the chat. But no, let's do this real quick. Let's hook up this other phone now that he's texted me, and I know that he's on the road, on the way. Let's go ahead and get this guy set up. Man, I don't feel like I sound right at all. Really. Share this camera. Let's add this guy in. Hopefully, I'm not going to get the video lag issues that I had yesterday. But and if you notice, hopefully you notice that the sound sounds exactly the same back here where I am setting up this camera as it did when I was sitting in the chair. Because I think I've got the mic thing hooked up. I think I've got it figured out. It's running through the board. I don't know if it's going to pick up Brian when he calls in, if it's going to pick up on my board and go to Audacity. So I might have to use some better or some less than quality audio. I don't know. Still figuring things out, guys. But I've got what I have going on now. I've got this angle going on behind me. I don't know. Thought it was something different, something new. You can see the rest of the room. I got the windows open to bring some natural light in. I got my other light going on over here. I've got one going on over here. So the lighting is good, hopefully. I decided I was going to do this originally. That way you could see the switcher screen from this camera here, but it doesn't look like it's really doing that very well. So I don't know. Maybe I should move that camera somewhere else, huh, guys? What should we do, Leia? Leia's down here in the studio with me, by the way. That's who I was pointing to earlier. She's right down here. But so I did a 96-hour fast. My son and I, Alec, my younger son, decided we were going to do a fast. I think I talked about it last episode, but decided we were going to fast and see who could go the longest. I guess it wasn't really a competition, but it was a competition, really. So he ended yesterday at 95 hours. I decided to go ahead and do the full 4-day, which is 96. I did 96 hours and 2 minutes and 36 seconds. Not that anybody was counting, but did that. Oh, this thing's still playing over here. I did that, and I broke my fast. I went up to Homegrown Brewhouse last night. First time I've been there in a little while, and Joshua Jarman was playing up there. I wanted to go up there and just support local music, support him, and I had heard through the grapevine that Homegrown was doing decent up there. They were following all the guidelines and doing the stuff that they're supposed to be doing. So decided it was safe to go up there, and I figured it would be early enough to where it wouldn't be super crowded. It was a good call. So I got there right at 8. My fast wasn't ending until 8:32. So I sat there and just drank some water until 8:32, but find me a seat right at the bar, right in front of the register. No other seats around me. Everything else was distanced and spread out. The employees were wearing their masks. All the customers had a mask. Sanitizing was happening. So everything was going great. I thought it was really good. So 8:32 rolled around. I ordered a beer, and I got some of Jonathan's deviled eggs, and they were fantastic. So that's how I broke my fast after 96 hours yesterday. Was with some deviled eggs and a beer. So, and then what happened, guys? Well, what happened was I got stupid with it, and I decided to get a 6-pack of beer, and I also went to Yale Fashion Ice Cream and got a bacon double cheeseburger and some fried pickles. So that went into the break the fast diet as well, and had a little bit too many beers and too much food, the wrong food to break a fast with. The deviled eggs were fine, but I went overboard with the fried pickles and the bacon double cheeseburger. But Leia loved fried pickles. I didn't know she liked the fried pickles, but she does. So that's something new, right, Leia? The fried pickles were good. So what am I doing now, guys? Well, my original plan was I was supposed to break my fast today. That was my original plan. I was going to try and go 100 hours. I'll do that next fast. And try and push the limits a little bit further. But my original plan was to end it today. I was going to wake up early this morning. I was going to put this chuck roast that I've had in the fridge for a couple of days. I was going to put it in a crock pot and get it slow cooking for the whole day. And that's what I was going to break my fast with right about now, actually, right around 5 o'clock or so. But that did not happen. But it is in the crock pot, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to play you a video right now. Gotta sell the sizzle, man. That's what I learned in Air Force recruiting. Sell the sizzle, not the steak. Got all my veggies loosely chopped over here. Got a little cucumber, some green pepper, some onion, and zucchini, not cucumber. And what else I got over here? Some red russet potatoes. We're gonna cook all that in some epic bone broth. A little bit of Worcestershire sauce. We've got some ranch dressing, organic. We got some beef barbacoa and some Italian seasoning. All that will be dumped in with the meat. And we're searing it right now. We're sealing some flavor with some ground pepper and some pink Himalayan salt. So there we go, guys. Let's see if we can put this bad boy over. There we go. Searing up nicely. So there you go, guys. And what I just realized, which I knew, I was watching my board over here, Audacity, and none of that audio picked up, I don't think, on through Audacity. So I don't know why I didn't pick that up. And I didn't hear it either. So I don't even know if you're going to be able to hear that on the podcast later on or not. But you know what? It happened and you saw it. So basically, just in case you didn't hear it, I'm cooking the chuck roast. I seared it on both sides real quick to seal in the flavor. Dumped it in the crock pot with all those veggies that you saw and the seasoning. And it's going to cook for at least 5 hours. It's probably going to cook 8 hours or so, really. But it's going to be great. It's going to be good. So yeah, that I didn't hear the sound and it didn't pick up on the Audacity, so I don't think that is going to work. So I'm going to have to use the audio just from this headphone mic. Man, I got to figure out how to get stuff through this board. I'm Bluetoothed into the board like we talked about last episode. And everything I'm saying right now is picking up, but I don't think that video picked up at all. And the other thing that I'm going to be curious about is if the audio from Brian, I'll be able to hear it in my mic, but I'm not sure if it's going to transfer and pick up over here on the Audacity either. So whenever I do a video chat, whenever I throw up videos for you to watch, I'm not going to have the perfect audio through Audacity. So when I do solo shows, more than likely, I'm going to use, the regular mics and the pitch perfect sound, but we'll figure it out, guys. We'll get it all working eventually. This was the picture that I sent my son. Asked me, if I'm still working out and how you looking, are you in shape? And I know you're fasting, but what's going on? So I took this picture for him yesterday after 2 hours in the yard. I was about 90 hours into the fast at this point, a little over 90, 92 maybe. So I don't know. Took that little picture just to show him. Hello, everybody in the back. What's going on back there? I want to work the room, make sure I'm touching everybody in the room. Not touching everybody. I'm not touching anybody, really. I touched Leia a couple times, pet her. But I just want to make sure I work the room and get everybody involved, like a good speaker does, right? What we will do is, I'm not waiting on Brian. He's on his way home. But what we will do is we're going to open a beer. Open a beer real quick. We're going to talk about it. And you know what? I've got some music that I created. I might be able to share it or with you, maybe. That maybe worked. Let's see if it picks up on the audio. Sure it did. What are we drinking today, guys? Well, we're going to talk about it. But we're drinking the 1985 IPA from VooDoo Ranger. No, they did not brew it. This was not brewed in 1985. This is not a recipe from 1985, I don't believe. We're going to look it up. So, yeah, I'm drinking that guy. They've always got some cool artwork. They pretty much use that same dude. I don't know if he has a name, but that's what we're drinking today. I got 2 of them. What is that, guys? Well, I made a beat actually on GarageBand. This is going to be my, for right now, at least for today, this is going to be my my talking about the beer music. So, and we'll go see if I'm logged in. I did not pull up Untapped yet, but you know, it's pretty much how it goes, right? It's normal stuff. Normal stuff. All right, here we go. Type it in on my new keyboard. As a matter of fact, guys, yeah, I got the tiny keyboard for the Surface Pro today. Came in the mail. Amazon Prime delivered it. So now I've got 2 tiny keyboards, and it's way better than that big ass fucking thing that I had on here earlier. What am I looking up here? 1985. VooDoo Ranger 1985. There we go. All right. Let's get some music. Figured it'd be nice just to have a nice little beat going. This is the VooDoo Ranger 1985 IPA from New Belgium Brewing Company out of, where are they out of? Colorado, I think. Let's take a look. Is that too loud, guys? New Belgium Brewing Company. Yeah, Fort Collins, Colorado. That's what I thought. Out there in Colorado Springs, I believe. Close to Colorado Springs. Like totally loaded with juicy mango flavor, 1985 takes you back to the future of hazy IPAs. Buckle up. Citra, Simcoe, and Cascade hops in this guy. So I guess the play on the name is Back to the Future. I'm assuming it came out in 1985, so 1985, and they Back to the Future of hazy IPAs. So I don't know, kind of silly, but it's got an average rating of 3.9. I gave it a 4 last night. I had one of these last night. It's 6.7% ABV, alcohol by volume, and it's got 30 IBUs. So there you go. That's my beats for the beer description. I threw that together last night. Let's just have a funky beat going on, right? Thanks for the suggestion, Tess, by the way. I'll play around with that a little bit more and see what we can get going. Let's taste some beer. Oh, yeah, definitely. Big mango. I didn't really pay attention to it last night, but big mango flavors. What do we got going on here? See if there's anything else I can do while we're waiting. Not really. We'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit more. I found this sign. This sign right here. I think, if I remember right, my parents had this at least back in the 70s, maybe even further back than that, but I remember it being just hung up above a door, I think, somewhere in the house there in Pepper Hill that we lived in back in the 70s and 80s, late 70s, 80s. And I think I remember it being over a door somewhere at the house. It was definitely in that house somewhere. So I found this in one of the boxes. I think it was in the box that I had all my trophies in, which are still sitting over here. I haven't gotten rid of the trophies yet. But I think it was sitting in that box. And I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not, but I figured I'd put it on the table for today. What else we got up here? What else we got on the table, guys? Well, we got It's All Fun and Games. This is the book that I penned back in 2007. I think it was first published. So It's All Fun and Games until. It's a memoir of sorts of my time down at Moody Air Force Base, Georgia, down in Valdosta, Georgia, from 1992 to 1998, I think is the ending of that. So it kind of chronicles my time there with my ex-wife and 2 brand new baby boys, and kind of goes through some of the trials and tribulations of marriage life, of people in their 20s, stupidity, doing dumb things and doing silly stuff. So it's a chronicle. It's a memoir. How do you say that word? Memoir. Who knows how you say it, guys? Somebody knows. If you know how to say it, you know, hit me up. Let me know. Let me know what the pronunciation is. I could look it up, but I'd rather have somebody else tell me. What else? What else, guys? I got my frogs up here. I've got my Craft Conversations water mug. I'm drinking some water. It's hot as balls up here, really. It's I've got the AC cut down to 68 degrees, and I'm still perspiring right now. I'm still having hot flashes. So I don't know if it's because I've got these blinds up on the windows over here, and maybe some extra sun is coming in to heat the room up. But I can see the curtain over here moving, so I know the air is actually blowing right now. It's on. I just replaced the filter the other day. I replaced all the filters in the house to try and, just in case there was some COVID going around in the house, I replaced all the filters with some HEPA filters to make sure we kind of filtrate and keep things a little bit cleaner here in the house. Since Tommy works, still working as a bartender and coming in contact with a lot of people during the day, so figured just one extra step to try and sanitize and keep the house clean. So, but yeah, it's hot as shit up here. 68 degrees is what I got to set on, guys. And I mean, it's still obviously blowing, so it's still cooling. Maybe it hasn't gotten down to 60. I think I had it set at 76 when I first walked up here, so it was a little toasty. And I kind of turned it down ahead of time to make sure it was good by the time I started this podcast. But it's not good. It's still too toasty for me. Leia's not minding it though. She is dead asleep here on the floor. So where is this kid? I figured I would just do, a 5 or 10 minute little spiel before homeboy got onto the phone, and we sit down and decide what we're going to talk about. But we're just going to chit chat, you know. I talk to these guys every now and again. They don't. Brian calls me, I guess. Brian calls me, but if I don't get in touch with Alec, I wouldn't hear from Alec ever. A lot of people put that thing out there on Facebook sometimes, just questions, right? Like if there was a gun to your head and they told you to call one person that you knew would not answer the phone, or else you were going to die, my answer would be Alec Dales, my youngest son. Somebody that would answer the phone, I might put down my oldest son. More than likely, probably my parents. My parents would be the first ones to answer the phone. Probably they're not doing anything. They still have a landline. How many people out there still have a landline? Anybody? I haven't had one since Alaska, since 2011. I think is the last time I had a landline phone. 9 years ago. Don't need it. Didn't need one in Alaska, really. But it was a package deal as far as, I think we had Dish Network at the time. Yeah, we had Dish Network, so it was a package deal as far as the satellites and the phone, and the internet. Something like that. And then moved to Vegas and said, screw it, man, we don't need it. Don't need a landline whatsoever. We all had cell phones, all four of us. That's how you get in touch with people. So, do you have a landline? Let me know. Send me a comment. Send me a comment. You can send me. That's the wrong one. You can send me. Where did I take? Oh, I took my email off of here. Well, shitballs. Why did I take that off? I guess instead of creating a new thing, I just erased my email and put that in there. We'll talk about that here in a second. I've got that shirt on, as a matter of fact, as well. We'll talk about that once Brian gets on the line. But don't need a landline. That's what I'm saying, guys. But my parents would definitely be the. If I was going to call anybody that I knew was going to answer the phone, it would be my parents. But they don't say, does it have to be somebody you know? Because you could just call a restaurant. You know a restaurant's going to answer the phone, right? Hmm. 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 I don't know. I don't know, guys. So GarageBand, I'm really new to this thing. I opened it up last night And I tell you what, it wasn't the easiest thing to to run through. And maybe it's just because I'm not a musician and I don't know all the terms and I don't know all the fancy lingo and I'm not one of the cool kids out there, I guess. But when I was looking at all the screens and the stuff and the menus, I'm like, how do I make anything? What do I do? But it looks like you can actually somehow get the guitars, keyboards, drums. You can throw all that shit into it. I don't know how you do it. I guess you just you have to have an external mic or something, or somehow you get plugged in. You run it through a soundboard. I don't know. I don't know how all that stuff works. I do have a guitar over here. I can maybe throw some guitar in there. I don't play it, but I could throw some kind of sound in there and make it an actual live guitar sound. But I got to run through it. It's got a lot of options on here, but I just thought it'd be fun to make a little beat, and hopefully that turned out all right. Just to make it not quite as boring when I'm reading the description of the beer. But what else is going on at Homegrown? I saw a lot of the customers that I used to serve up there. A guy named Kevin was up there last night. Um, Ryan Franken showed up. His mom was there. Natalie, which is Joshua Jarman's girlfriend. Who else? There was a guy at the end of the bar. I don't remember his name, but pretty much everybody in there was a customer of mine that was in there prior. And got in there. The lights were not turned down. Normally, I would turn them down at least by 6 o'clock. It was already 8 o'clock, and I asked both the bartender. I'm like, "Are we gonna cut the lights down and maybe set the mood a little bit? What's going on in here?" So they said, "Oh, so you're gonna come in here and tell us what to do now?" And I said, "No, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, look, man, there was protocols, and these lights should be turned down, man. It's 8 o'clock at night. Turn the lights down, set the mood, and let's groove it out. Playing some sexy music over here, and got these bright lights going on. So let's get those lights up." But oh my God, I wasn't going to do a solo show, so I really have nothing to talk about. There's some stuff I could talk about, but I'm trying to save things for the phone call. I hope he didn't. Hope he didn't call me already or text me, and I missed the text. Maybe I should just let's do this. Let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and join a room, and let's go ahead and invite him. And that way he can just jump in whenever he's ready. Let's see, we're gonna Brian Jr. Yeah, so his text still says on the way home, so we'll send that to him. So he'll show up here as soon as he joins. I'll see him immediately, and then we'll split the screen up. We'll do whatever, and we'll talk about whatever. Went up to Lowe's Foods today. Put it on a camera where you can see. Why is that camera frozen? Jesus. Oh, there it goes. It unfroze. God, I hope I'm not going to have the lag problems that I had last episode. I don't know if you watched last episode or not, but if you listen to it, it's fine. Just on Podbean or Spotify or any of the places that you can listen to it. But if you watched it, yeah, had some video lag problems. I don't know if it was my internet or if my phones just weren't talking to each other properly or the switcher was messed up. All the apps have been updated on the switcher app. So both my phones plus the iPad have been updated with the latest 5.0 update that they did. So could have some bugs in it the other day when I did it, and hopefully they've got those worked out. I don't see any lagging going on except when that just had that freeze for a second. But yeah, the new update allows me to. I don't even know what I was talking about before I got into this. I just can't. I'm discombobulated today, guys. Really. Yeah. So with the new update, I can do the video chatting right from the switcher board right here. The last time I did it on the test episode, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about Lowe's Foods, but the last time I did it with Tess Altman is I had to actually log into a website here on the Mac, the switcher dashboard, you had to log into the website and go to the switcher dashboard, and then you had to click on video chat, and you had to copy the link, you had to text it to somebody, and you did everything through the website as far as video chatting. Also with that version, the previous version, the video chatter, the guy that you were chatting or the person you're chatting with, could not see anything that was going on. So everything that you, as a viewer on the YouTube channel, are seeing happen on your screen, now the person that I'm video chatting with sees that as well, live while we're recording it. So they don't have to wait for the recording to be done to figure out what I did and what everything looked like and what stuff I put on the screen or whatever. So you're actually able to see that. So that's cool. And see, one thing I don't like about this thing being on this side is my hand has to go right in front of the camera here to switch angles. So all you're doing is seeing my hand. From when I have it on the other side of the table, when I have it over here, I come in from the other side. So the camera is on the other side of the iPad. So when I come in from the other side, you don't see my hand quite as much, but you still see it a little bit regardless. So Lowe's Foods went up there today. Haven't been there in 4 days because I've been fasting. So actually when I walked in there, Dana, she's one of the girls that actually opened up the store with me back in December of 2018. She's been there that long. She stayed there. She is now the coffee manager. At the time, she just worked in the coffee section, and I worked in the beer den section. But she has now worked her way up to manager of the beer den. But when I walked in, she said, "Oh man, I thought you finally got your RV and took off and didn't even tell anybody goodbye because I haven't seen you." Because I usually go up there every day and at least have one beer. I usually go get my coffee. I'll drink the coffee somewhere, whether it's at Coastal Coffee or whether I get Bigby and go to the boat landing or something and just kind of hang out in nature a little bit, drink my coffee, and then after I get done with that, catch up on some news and do some different things. Then it's time for beer, as far as I'm concerned. So I go to Lowe's Foods. They usually have a great selection up there. They got 8 beers on tap. It's always fresh, and it's $5, for 4. And you can only have 2, so they limit you. So that's good too. But I went up there today, and Dana was like, "Where you been, man? What's going on?" I said, "Well, I've been fasting, so I haven't come up because I wasn't eating or drinking or anything." So, and I did my shopping in a couple other places, Harris Teeter and Publix. So I didn't have to even go in there for shopping, but met Miss Tess Altman up there actually. Had a couple beers, chit-chatted for a little bit before I came home to get everything set up for the show. Where is my son? Jesus Christ, what time is it? We were supposed to do this thing. He said, let's do it at 5 o'clock. It is now 5:21, Brian. Hopefully he's all right. Hopefully he didn't get in a wreck or something or get held up, get a ticket, get something happen, but he is not here. We're going to talk a little bit about COVID and the coronavirus. I'm still waiting on my second test. I ordered the test. It's a home test that Tommy recommended. Worked out very well for him. He did it, sent it in. He got the results in 2 days. I ordered it on the 5th. It shipped on the 6th. I think I received it on the 8th. Today is the 11th. So I received it on the 8th. I did the test. I dropped it in the FedEx box, which was picked up that night. It has been at the lab for testing since July 8th, and it is now the 11th. And it is now 5:20, whatever I said it was, 5:22 in the afternoon, and I still haven't gotten the results yet, so I don't think I'm going to get any results today either. And I don't know if they do anything on Sunday, so it might be fucking Monday before I get any goddamn results. I don't know why I'm the only person in this whole fucking state. Well, I'm not the only person, but the only person I know personally that it takes forever to get a test, and then it takes forever to get the results of that test. And, I made a post last night that, and we're going to talk about all this with Brian, hopefully, but that, I was watching a video that the NBA is starting practices down at Disney World. Disney World opened up today, as a matter of fact, in Florida. Florida is one of the 4 top hotspots in the United States, but they decided, hey, let's open Disney World. And I know they've got some different standards and some different distancing and some different things that they're going to impose and implement, but I still just don't think it's a good idea. But what I heard on the video was that the NBA is practicing down there, and every player that is down there practicing is getting tested every single day. They get a test, and they get the results back. And I'm waiting on my results. I can't get a test. It's hard for me to get a test. You got people out there that are sitting in lines, like in Arizona, the number 1 hotspot in the United States right now. You got people sitting in lines waiting for 6 to 10 hours to get a test, sitting in their car in 120-degree heat, waiting to go through a drive-through testing center to get a test. And if you don't meet the deadline before they close down, guess what? You got to come back the next day and get in that line again and do it. It's ridiculous. But the NBA can get tested every goddamn day and get the results back immediately. So, just another way that it shows you that the top percenters, the people that make all the money, the big buck guys, get all the spoils, man. They get all the perks. But you're poor, or you have shitty insurance, or you have no insurance, and you got to struggle. You got to wait in a hot car for 10 fucking hours. I heard on one news report that one of the cars caught on fire. I mean, it was so hot out there, and the car overheated. The thing just burst into flames. All they're trying to do is get a damn test to see if they're sick, see if they're going to infect anybody, see if they need to go to the hospital, see why they're having the symptoms that they're having, why they don't feel well. But I don't. Oh, it's a heated subject for me, man. And then, so I left Homegrown last night. I'm not sure I like this angle. Should I put this down one more? Yeah, I like that. I was trying to put it at the other angle to get my shirt in there, but now this angle kind of goes up into my nose a little bit. But whatever. Got a little sore on my nose right here, actually, guys, because I've been rubbing it so much. It's been running so much, and I've been so snotty and congested with whatever virus or something that I had. But it's raw. It's raw up there. What was I saying? Oh, so I left Homegrown Brew House, pulled out. I pulled around the corner, and you have to go by Wine and Tapas, which is another local joint over there. Sells wine and beer, and some tapas, some food, little small bite stuff. And I'd heard all the rumors, and I've been in there one time, which is if I did or do have the coronavirus, I thought maybe that was one of the places that I might have picked it up, but they are not playing by the rules whatsoever. So I rode by there. I'd heard all the rumors that the employees weren't even wearing a mask, which is like the number 1 rule out there. The ordinance that we have for people of the town in Somerville right now to wear a mask is kind of comes and goes. But for employees at the restaurants and bars to wear a mask has been around for quite a while, or a little while. Maybe not quite a while, but it's been around for a good bit. And I'd heard the rumors that the employees weren't even wearing a mask up there, that they said, fuck it, screw all the rules, we're not going to obey any of them. So what was I saying? Basically, I pulled by there last night just to kind of peek in the window and see if the rumors were true. And lo and behold, not one of the employees was wearing a mask when I pulled by there. And everybody, all the bar stools were right next to each other, elbow to elbow. I mean, no different than what it was pre-coronavirus. So no distancing whatsoever. Matter of fact, there was another musician playing up there last night, Mr. Ron Daniel and Bobby Napier. Fantastic musicians. They played the first Friday of every month at Homegrown. They still do. But he had sent me a text and invited me to Wine and Tapas to see them play last night. And I said, Ron, I'm sorry, man, but I don't patronize Wine and Tapas at the moment because they're not playing by the rules at all. And I think it's going to be one of the hot spots. Brian just texted me and said his wife is finishing vacuuming and then he's going to join. So I guess it's too loud for him to, tell Megan to stop vacuuming because you're supposed to be on a phone call 28 minutes ago, Brian. And why is Megan doing the vacuuming? That's so sexist, really. She should have waited for you to get home and said, Brian, I need you to vacuum. But yeah, wine and tapas, I would not recommend it. I actually, once I saw that, I was in the process of making a Facebook post to condemn them for not playing by the rules, and I had it all written out. I was about ready to hit post, and I decided against it. So, who am I? Am I the police? I don't know. I mean, I've already made one post a little while ago about I graded some of the restaurants that I was going around to: Dog and Duck, Mellow Mushroom, Kickin' Chicken. Who else did I rate? I think those were the main three at the time, but yeah, Wine and Tapas is not playing by the rules. And I've heard the same thing about Capamana. I've heard the same thing about Summer Breeze. Where else have I heard it? I talked about Coastal Coffee Roasters the other day. They're doing a fantastic job. And Homegirl did a great job last night too, But by the time I left there last night, I only stayed an hour. I stayed there from 8 o'clock until about 9. And then I took off. But they were doing very well. But towards the end of my time there, and they were going to be open another 2 hours after I left. So it was going to get even more crowded. But I thought it got a little too crowded for my taste. By the time I left, I mean, still all the tables are distanced, and the bar stools were distanced at the bar. Normally you would have 12 bar stools up there at the bar. They only had 6, and they had them in pairs. So you had a pair here at the very end of the bar, and then you had a pair right in the middle of the bar, and then you had a pair at the other far end of the bar. So they were spaced and they were paired out. That way, if you came in as a couple, you had a place to sit there at the bar. So spaced out very nicely. Everything was spaced out. But by the time I was about to leave, like for instance, a family of 3 came in, and they walked up to the bar, and the bartender said, "Hey, if you go find one of the tables, I'll bring a menu out to you, and you can order from the table." And the people said, "Oh no, we're good. We'll just order right here." And instead of her re-emphasizing, "Look, I need you to go sit down and not stand at the bar," she allowed them to stand at the bar, and they were standing literally right next to me. I mean, within a foot, maybe 2 feet away from me. So I'm just sitting there looking up, at the guy, like, "Look, dude, you're in my personal space right now. Why are you standing here at the bar? She told you to go sit down." But I minded my own business. I stood up and scooted my stool over about another foot and just kind of sat as far at the far end of the bar as I possibly could. I couldn't go any further. Farther? Further. I couldn't go any further. Farther. But farther is for distance. So I actually moved some distance. That one always fucks me up, man. It really does. So confusing. But so anyway, so they stood there, for a good 5 minutes fucking dicking around at the bar. And I'm like, "God damn it, just sit down. You're not supposed to be at the bar. She told you that." But so that happened. And then I noticed a few people come in that weren't wearing masks. And if it was me at the bar, I would have told them, hold on, I'll go back to this angle. Yeah, I like that. I like that a little bit better. If it was me as the bartender, which I was previously when we first reopened for COVID, but we didn't have all these rules at the time, but I still had my rules. I would have told them, "Look, man, I told you, you go sit down. You can't stand and hang around and hover at the bar. That's why there's no stools up here. The bar is pretty much essentially closed except for these 3 little sections. So go sit your ass down. And if you came in without a mask, that's definitely a no-go." I would have said, "Sorry, buddy, you're going to have to go get a mask, or you're going to have to go somewhere else. Go down to Wine and Tapas. They don't give a shit if you wear a mask or not." So by the time I left, it was getting a little too packed for me, and people were doing less and less compliance. As a matter of fact, and we're going to talk about all this with Brian too, but Matter of fact, they just passed our governor, which won't make any rules, and all of a sudden he throws out some silly rules. It's kind of silly, but I think it'll help a little bit. But he made a new rule that no alcohol sales after 11 o'clock, so all bars and everything have to shut down at 11. Can't sell anymore. So, what was I don't even know where I was getting to there. Oh, but I was going to say I think that's a good idea, because I think the later it gets, and the more people have been drinking throughout the day, and the later in the night that you start drinking, your inhibitions get lowered. I mean, you're drinking, you're getting inebriated. The alcohol is lowering your inhibitions, and you start doing things that you shouldn't be doing, like not wearing your mask and not social distancing. You get more touchy feely, um, and I just think that there's less and less compliance as the night goes on. And I think it's a good thing that we're shutting things down from 11 to 2. I think that's going to help out. Mostly your younger crowd, the people that most people are suspecting are spreading this thing like wildfire right now, are the younger, the people in their 20s. Those are a good majority of the people that are hanging out at these bars till 2 o'clock in the morning. And then they're gonna, they're contracting this virus, and they're gonna take it back to their friends and their family and their jobs and everything else. And I think it's a decent move, a decent measure to maybe help slow the spread a little bit. But I think it's a little too late, too little, too late, as they say, right? I think I don't know if South Carolina do it. I know other states have done it, but I think it's going to come to a point where we're going to have to shut bars down again. I had a big article the other day on, I think it was CNN or somebody. There was somebody talking about bars are like the biggest hotspots right now, the biggest no-nos. The ventilation sucks. It's overcrowded. There's no distancing. People are not obeying mask laws, and that's some of your biggest hotspots. I think the bars are going to have to shut back down. But again, I don't think South Carolina will do it. I think our governor sucks ass. He has no balls. He has no cojones. And I don't even like to use that term either, because come on, that's kind of sexist too, right? I mean, we always say, "Oh man, that guy's got some that person's got some balls on him. Look how brave he is," or whatever. And but then when somebody is doing something that is not good, you call them a pussy. So why have we made being a man and having balls is the toughness, but being a pussy, a girl, essentially, is the weakness. So I think that's something that people need to stop saying as well. Don't be a pussy. Man, you got some balls on you. Man, that takes some balls. What a pussy. I don't know. I just like saying balls and pussy, really, guys. But we shouldn't be using that to describe strong people and weak people, because you're saying men are strong and women are weak. And we know that's not the case. There's a lot of weak men out there, and there's a lot of strong women out there. I promise you. I've served with them. Been in the military. I was in the military 21 years. I've seen some tough ass women, and I've seen some weak ass fucking men. And of course the reverse. But of course the reverse. Where the fuck is Brian? Goddamn it! So pissed off. Not really. But I didn't want to do a long ass show, and now I'm already 49 minutes into the show, and I still got to talk to Brian. And I was expecting that we were going to talk for about an hour, so this is going to be a long ass show, man. All this stuff up front, I might just cut it all out. You might not even see this stuff. And if you don't see it, then you didn't see it. You won't even know you didn't see it. But I might cut all the front of this out, because it's just boring as hell. It's just me sitting around rambling about nothing. But no, you got Seinfeld that made a whole, 9 seasons of that. A show about nothing. So maybe this is exciting for some people. I doubt it. What else could we play here, guys? We could play Play some more beats. Only got the one beat. Check it out for a second. Got some kick drum in there. Got some snare. Got a lot of heavy hi-hat. Got a tom in there. Got some light cymbal. Little cowbell. It's a little funky beat. Oh, Brian. What else can we do? Let's see what else we got here. Let's go to the screen. Kind of see me fucking with the computer, I guess, but all this stuff's in the way. Let's take this out. Is that better? Yeah, you can see it a little better. Let's see what else is happening here. What else could we pull up? Watching a little Tom Green. I don't know if any of you guys watch Tom Green or if you watched the original Tom Green show, but he's got a new thing that he's doing called Webovision. And I'll be honest, I'm taking some inspiration from Mr. Tom Green. You can't really see him on the screen here, but he's actually doing piano practice on today's show. I'm about 3 minutes into that show, and it's fairly exciting so far. I don't know, but he is resetting up his studio right now. He had it set up very nicely, and I'm taking a lot of cues from Mr. Tom Green actually on how I'm setting up. And sometimes I think he's taking cues from my podcast because I'll do stuff, and then all of a sudden I'll see him doing that on his podcast. So I don't know if he's watching Craft Conversations, but if you are, Tom, I appreciate it. But I'm taking a lot of cues from him. You know, I've got influences. Mr. Howard Stern is a big influence for me. Mr. David Letterman is a big influence for me. Mr. Joe Rogan, as far as podcasting goes, is a huge influence for me. Probably one of the main reasons we started this show, Caleb and I originally, was Mr. Joe Rogan. And Tom Green, you know, his biggest mentor, it looks like, when I watch the show, is Johnny Carson. He makes a lot of references to Johnny Carson. I think that's one of the guys that gave him one of his big starts. So he gives a lot of props and kudos to that guy. But for me, I like Carson. I mean, I grew up with Carson. That was my first taste of late night TV, was Mr. Johnny Carson, and then David Letterman, you know, was after him with the Late Late Show, I think is what it was originally. And then what'd you have? Yeah, Jay Leno came along. I didn't like Jay Leno too much at all. David Letterman was my guy. I wish he would have taken over the Tonight Show originally, but he did his own thing, and I think it was even better than what was going on tonight. I think it was better than what he would have done on the Tonight Show. I like Conan a lot as well. I think he got screwed over. He did get screwed over as far as the Tonight Show slot goes, but he had a great show as well. I wouldn't say that he's really a mentor of mine or that I copy or imitate anything that he does, but it's a good show though. But Letterman for sure. Howard Stern, just as far as Letterman, as far as his interview skills. So whenever I have a guest in here, I feel like I take a lot from Letterman and I take a lot from Stern, interviewing wise. At least I try to. I don't say that I am them or I'm as good as them. Not even close. But I try to use some of their interviewing skills. And same thing for Joe Rogan. I mean, Joe Rogan is a very good podcaster as well. He talks very well with guests, and he gives them time to speak, and he listens, and he responds well, and all of them steer the conversation in a way that is pleasant, that it flows well, that it stays interesting, it doesn't lull. But of course, you know, David and Howard were both kind of rebels, and did it their own way. and didn't really abide by, you have to do this, you have to do this, the FCC rules, and blah blah blah. They kind of step out of the box and push the limits. And I don't know if I push the limits too much on this show, but I definitely get a little controversial sometimes. And I just say what I mean. I don't filter anything. I don't go back. I said I was going to cut this all out at the beginning. I'm not going to cut any of this out. I was actually telling Tess today when we were talking up at Lowe's and over a couple of beers that I've never filtered anything on this show ever. I've never bleeped anything. I've never cut anything out. No guest I've ever had has ever said, I don't really want you to put that into the video. So I've kept everything, every single word that has been spoken on this podcast between me, Caleb, or any of the guests is exactly as it was recorded. No filter on this show. And I take that away from, Stern and some other guys. And of course, Rogan. I mean, there's no filtering on podcasts unless you're trying to filter it because you want to be kid friendly or whatever. But so yeah, I think the only show we have ever cut, and I've even put some shows that probably shouldn't have even been put out, like the gruesome foursome episode that I put out with I think it was me, Mr. Gordon Peters, Dennis Essenbacher. Is that how you say his fucking name? Dennis and Tommy Altair, my roommate. We all four of us came up and did a show one night. Probably shouldn't have been released, but it was funny. I thought it was good, so I released it. The Tess Altman episode that I did last week or whatever week it was, a couple weeks ago, we were just testing shit out, and I started watching it back. I'm like, hey, this is kind of some good content. It's actually kind of entertaining. Do you mind if I put it out? And she said yes, so I put it out. The only episode that I can remember that was never released, and I don't even think there's a copy of it. I wish there was, because I would probably release it at this point, but was the very first test episode that we did. It was Caleb and I and my roommate, and didn't like it, scrapped it. I think Brian is trying to join here, but I'm not seeing anything. I'm seeing a black screen. Hello? And I'm not hearing anything, so. Hello? I can see you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can now. What's up, man?
Not much. Can't hear you too well. Let me see if I can get my headset here.
Yeah, Alec yesterday when we tested with him, it was just he was just using the audio on his phone in the kitchen, and it worked out all right for him. He said he could hear me fine, but yeah, headphones might be a better option.
Let me see if I can connect to some headphones real quick.
All right. We got Brian joining the chat. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see. We can put us both on there. Oh, you know what though? I need to do this first. Should be good. So why the hell is Megan vacuuming when she knows she's supposed to be doing a show?
Hey, listen. There's an incident with a sock. And I had to get it out, and then she had to continue vacuuming.
Huh. I gotta turn my volume up too so I can hear you better. What's going on? Are you on your phone or computer?
Phone? You think it'd be better on the computer?
No, either way. Oh, I can definitely hear you. Well, I turned up my volume. That's why I can hear you better. Duh. But yeah, the phone works out well. And I was going to tell you to turn it to landscape because I think that it works better on the video screen. But I'm not sure if I like that split screen or if I like this other. You can see that, right? You can see it split up.
Yeah.
All right. Do you like this one better? The black background.
Either way.
Yeah. I think I like that one better. What was that you just had? It looked like a noose. Did you have a noose?
No, it was the blinds.
Oh, the blind. It was tied into a noose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Robin Williams it soon.
You're what?
Can't take it anymore.
Oh, I got you. Rob Williams joke. So where you been, man? What you been doing?
Been at a blacksmithing class today.
Oh, that's right.
That I got.
How was that?
It was great. Got it for my birthday from a dear friend. And yeah, it's 4 hours. And I made a dagger. And it was super cool.
Who gave you that?
Sam Hansen.
Sam Hansen. Sam Hansen, that's a beautiful guy right there. Sam Hansen. Where's he at? He's still in San Diego?
Yep. Hopefully. Yeah, he's still in San Diego. He's getting out in, officially, I think it's May or March. But I think he can take all of his leave time and stuff so that he can get out a little earlier. February or something.
Right. How many years has he done? It's been like 8 years or something, right?
6.
Okay. He's done, huh? Doesn't want to retire?
Is it? Nope. Doesn't want it. Doesn't want it. Is it laggy for you? My video's all lagged up. Is my audio lagged up?
You're lagging a little bit, I think. I mean, I've been watching my videos, seeing if it was lagging today, and it doesn't seem like it is, but you are a little bit, so maybe it's just your connection. Like you said, you got a shitty one, right?
Yeah. Let me see if I can.
I mean, it's really no different. You know, I watched Joe Rogan the other day he did a Zoom or Skype with Jon Stewart, and it seemed to work kind of the same way. I mean, Jon Stewart was all laggy, and Joe Rogan looked fine, but.
Yeah, I think there's like a 1 to 2 second delay.
Yeah, it's a little sound delay, but we'll get through it. My first real test. Hey, my nose is running.
Do you want to see how it looks on the computer?
Well, I don't think it's going to be any different look-wise. Like I said, I think the camera on the iPhone is better than the camera on any Mac or anything that you got. So I think as far as camera goes, it's going to be better, but it shouldn't be any different connection-wise. It's the same Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah. Guess that's true.
Yeah. I've already done an hour of a show before you even called him, so it's a long episode.
An hour?
Yeah, because I started at 4:50 because I thought you were calling at 5 o'clock, and I said, okay, I'll do 10 or 15 minutes up front, and then next thing I know, it's been an hour already because it's now 5:52.
Yeah, you're gonna have to cut that shit short.
Well, I talked about that actually during the podcast, and I said, well, you may not even see this because I might cut out all this stuff at the front and just forget about it. And then I said, you know what? I've never cut anything out of a show ever, so I'll probably leave it in. I don't know.
I think that's your problem. I think you gotta change some shit up. You gotta evolve.
No. Nobody else nobody else is cutting stuff out of their show. They have a show. Joe Rogan does 4 hours. It's 4 hours. There's no cut. There's no break.
No, there's cuts. He only starts when the guest gets there.
Right. Yeah. But he doesn't cut anything out of that show though. That's what I'm saying.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, I think the show's going to be better if it's not 3 hours long.
Oh, it's not going to be 3 hours. We're almost done right now, actually.
We just got here.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
So blacksmithing, what'd you do with blacksmithing?
I made a dagger. Learned some.
Oh, I knew it was going to be some kind of blade.
Yeah. It was sweet.
Yeah? Where is it?
It's in the oven. It's part of the process. Got to put it in the oven for 2 hours when I get home.
Oh, so it's kind of like ceramics or something. You got to cure it or whatever that shit is that you got to do.
Well, you gotta. So you forge it, the metal, using the oven and the anvil, and you make a rough shape of what you want. And then after you're done doing a rough forge, you then take. He's got like a little grindstone, mechanical grindstone, and or electric grindstone, and sandpaper wheel.
Right.
And so you go to it and you kind of rub off any of the imperfections or bumps or edges that you got, because it was a rough forge, so it's not going to be perfect. So you kind of sand it down, get some flat edges where you want them, whittle it away to like whatever pattern you want, and then you grind it with the sandpaper back and forth, so it has a dull edge, the resemblance of an edge and a tip. And then after that, it's still not hard enough because you haven't what's it called? Quenched it. You haven't quenched it, so you haven't taken it from an extreme temperature to a opposite end extreme temperature, and that's what kind of hardens it and makes it durable and sharp. Makes the blade hard and sharp. So once you sand it down and get the rough edges you want out, go back to the forge, heat it again, evenly, and then you quench it. You go straight from heating it up all the way straight into a bucket of water, or we used actually it was a bucket of salt water with dish soap, because apparently that reduces the surface tension and cools it faster. And with the type of metal I was using, that's what he preferred to use instead of just straight water. You can also use oil, but you just dunk it in there real quick, and then swivel it around, let it cool off, and that's it. And then that's the first part. It's hard. It's kind of brittle. So then, because it went from one extreme temperature to another extreme temperature, so then when you get home, you're supposed to put it in the oven at 390 degrees for about 2 hours, so it kind of softens just a little bit. It's not getting too high in temperature, but it's not cold either, so it kind of softens the metal a little bit more, and then everything kind of settles better after you do that 2 hour portion. And then it'll just be metal, and I gotta go back, because once you do the sanding and stuff, it's all silver and cool, like a blade you would find in a store. But then once you do the second forging, it all turns black again and just looks like a piece of metal shaped into a knife. So I'm going to go back on Monday, a second grind and a second sandpapering, and you actually put the final edge on it to make it sharp, and then we're going to wrap some leather cord around the handle, finish it up.
So, I mean, you mentioned the salt water. So the salt, normally you don't want to put metal in salt water. That corrodes it, right? So that doesn't happen, I guess, with the soap in there. I mean, I don't know what the purpose of the salt water is.
Well, so you're supposed to, basically, it's a temperature difference. So if you go from if you go from 1700 degrees to 5 degrees, that's a huge difference. And the bigger the difference, the harder the metal is. So if you take 1700 degrees, dunk it in some really cold solution, and it brings the temp down drastically, that's what hardens the metal. But if you harden it too much, it gets brittle, so it's easily cracked, or if you drop it, it'll break. So you don't want to have that drastic amount of time, depending on what the carbon content is in the metal you're using. I was using a railroad spike. He's just got a bunch of railroad spikes that he gets from a guy in town. And apparently the railroad spike, because it's used on the railroad and there's a bunch of vibration when trains come, it's got a lower carbon count because it needs to be a little bit more flexible so that it doesn't just snap from the vibrations of the train coming.
Okay.
So because it's a low carbon count, you can do more drastic temperature changes, and you don't have to go as slow with the cooling off process. So he was using rebar, and usually you don't know what kind of metal's in rebar, but usually higher carbon content. So for his, he had to dunk in water, just kind of room temperature water, because otherwise it would have broken if he had gone too cold with it. But for mine, it's a little bit more flexible. It's got a little bit more lower carbon content. So he wanted to use a quicker solution because it doesn't matter if the temperature is that drastic. So he wanted to cool it down quicker, and the salt water brings the temp of the water, down, and then the dish soap brings the surface area or the surface tension of the water down, so it doesn't kind of bubble around the metal, but it actually stays on the metal and cools it down.
Right.
So that's why I used it. And then the salt water doesn't really matter because you dry it off. You rinse it in regular water, and then you dry it off. So you're really just removing all that stuff from the metal.
So you'll go back and finish it up. So that's all included in whatever Sam bought you to go back and do the completion to it?
No, actually, he was just generous enough to, it took a little while. We took a little break and had some lunch longer than 4 hours. And he had another class coming in, or another person coming in at 2. So he was like, hey, I'm going to get some food and, come back on Monday. I'll be here working on some projects and we'll just do the last bit. Because apparently it doesn't take very long to do the last bit. So he's like, we'll just take like 10, 15 minutes, sharpen everything up, polish it, wrap the leather around it, and he isn't going to charge me. So.
Okay. So originally it was supposed to just be a 4-hour class.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all one-on-one, is it?
Yeah, he does. Well, he does group classes. I think up to 6 people or something. But with COVID going on, he switched to just private classes.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So in the
does he try and upsell you while you're there and say, hey, why don't you come back and do another class and we'll do something even cooler? Or?
No, I mean he's just there to teach people about blacksmithing and maybe get people interested. Right.
So it's just the one class. Okay.
Yeah, just one class. You make a thing, and then if you want to come back, you make another thing. It's graded, so you can do like a 2-hour class and just make like a hook or a wall hanging or something,
right.
Or a piece of silverware or something, a rough piece of silverware. Or you have the 4-hour class where you can make something like a knife or something a little more intricate. And then he has like an 8-hour class where you really get into the process and really hone whatever you're trying to make. You do the whole thing. There's a carpentry component if you're making a knife for the 8-hour class, so you can make an actual handle and bolt it to the metal. But for the 4-hour class, you could do a paracord wrap, or you could do a leather wrap, or you could make the handle, make it a little more intricate out of the metal and just have the metal. I wanted to do a leather handle, so we'll do that on Monday.
Cool. And did you talk to that guy at all? Did you figure out how he got started in that, or how did he get interested in blacksmithing, and why is he doing instruction, and what's his background? No.
No, I mean we there for 4 hours, so we talked for sure. He was he grew up overseas, and so he was kind of ran around in the jungle and stuff. It was what he was saying. So he's always been kind of worldly, hands-on. But I think how he started was as a carpenter, and then his maybe his brother was more of a metal worker, and I think his brother lent him an oven, and he started messing around with blacksmithing. But I think he's a carpenter. But I know he's a sculptor and an artist more so than making knives and stuff. So I think he dealt more in sculpting and then into blacksmithing, however many years back. And he's just been messing around with his little oven, making knives and axes and hatchets and stuff.
Yeah. So I know you're in Arizona. You're in Flagstaff, Arizona. So, which is the number one hotspot for the coronavirus right now, right? I mean, you guys are number one in the world, I think, as far as cases per 100 or per 1 million people, or some shit I saw. I think I sent you the article. But so when you go to this blacksmithing class, do you have to wear a mask when you're out in public, and you wear a mask when you're doing the blacksmithing and all that kind of stuff, or what?
If you're comfortable, I walked in with a mask, and he had a mask, and we kind of said, I quarantine, you quarantine. If you're comfortable, I'm comfortable. We can take off the masks. Otherwise, we can keep them on. It was hot. It was just us, and so we were like, we figured it'd be fine. We're not touching each other or anything. We're standing a distance apart while he's hammering and I'm watching, and then I'm hammering and he's kind of looking at stuff. So we're not like face to face talking the whole time. We're doing stuff while we're there, and we were a little bit distanced, but it was only the two of us, so figured if you feel shit 3 days from now, stay home. I'll do the same. We agreed upon it.
All right. Well, I got you. So what are the rules right now in Arizona? I mean, I know what the rules are here in South Carolina. Well, I guess we'll talk about that a little bit and kind of talk about the differences of what each state is doing. But, we're one of I think we're in the top 4 right now as far as hotspots South Carolina is. And you guys are, I think, still number 1. Maybe Florida might be number 1, or Texas. But what are the rules right now for you guys?
I think we are number 1.
What's everything?
Well, restaurants are still open. Bars are closed. Gyms are closed.
You still have in store in restaurant dining, or is it just to go only, or what?
Well, it's kind of up to the place. A lot of the places are taking it pretty seriously, so a lot of them are back to takeout. Some of them are still dining in because they have the space to move the tables apart and stuff, and everybody's wearing masks. So some people are still open for dine-in. Not too many. Everyone went back to takeout. The masks are mandatory in public or in settings, unless you're at a table in a restaurant that's socially distanced or something. But yeah, you have to wear your mask at all times in public. And everybody's taking that pretty seriously too. You can't go into restaurants or go up to drive-thrus or anything without having your mask on, and they'll turn you away. So Flagstaff's taking it pretty seriously. I don't know how Phoenix is. I haven't been down there. I'm assuming a little less stringent.
Right. I mean, yeah, Phoenix is a little more red, right, than Flagstaff is.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, Flagstaff's kind of 50-50. It's not overtly either way, but I feel like besides the tourism that comes up here from Phoenix and other places, the people who live here are, relatively taking it pretty seriously, doing what they should be doing. But Governor Ducey left it up to the mayors, how stringent they wanted to be. He didn't really. He put a 30-day thing back in effect where you should wear your mask and bars are closed and gyms are closed. But he left, the mandatory mask wearing and a couple other things up to the mayors of each city. So everyone's doing something a little bit different, but.
Okay, so he didn't order the mandatory mask. It's left up to the mayor, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the way our state is doing it too. I mean, I don't think our mayor has any guts at all to do anything really, any measures whatsoever. But he's leaving it up to the mayors as well. But I wish he would just make a mandatory, statewide ordinance to wear a mask. But it's not going to happen.
No, at this point, cases just keep climbing. People aren't going to do what they're supposed to do. But
right, I know I'm in a different state over here. It's definitely the South is more Republican or whatever, and Arizona is pretty Republican as well. But do you notice that as far as compliance over there in Arizona is really based on if you're a Trump supporter or if you're not a Trump supporter, whether you wear a mask or don't wear a mask type thing? I mean, what do you see over there?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's it's a broad generalization, and I don't know everyone in town, so I can't. I'm not going to be one of these Facebook people that tell you, oh, yeah, that's how it is. But generally, I mean, if you stereotype a Trump supporter and you stereotype someone who's not a Trump supporter, then I would say, yeah, it's probably. But if you don't want to stereotype anybody, I can't really say, if that's the case.
I mean, that's pretty much what I see, and that's what I see on my Facebook feed and whatever. And everybody that I know that is a Trump supporter is against the mask and against COVID in general. They think it's a hoax. They think it's that by the time the election happens that it's just going to go away. So, and that's what I see on my end of the country. But
yeah.
So I'm not trying to generalize. That's the fact as far as what I see in my world.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know if it's the facts, throughout the entire United States, but that's the facts right here that I see. But
yeah, and I think it depends. I have a lot of friends close to the healthcare industry, and I think people, maybe some supporters that are in healthcare, Trump supporters that are in healthcare might have a different opinion, but everyone in healthcare is saying that it's, wear your mask. So, but yeah, I'd say that's it. And we probably have we probably keep growing because the mayor didn't or the governor excluded churches from the order to wear masks and things. So.
Oh, really? So you're talking about the mayor of Flagstaff?
No, the governor. Governor Ducey didn't bar churches from doing anything. Gave churches the pass. So and then I'm a little more comfortable generalizing churchgoers as certain supporters. So I'll say that they probably aren't wearing their masks in huge congregations.
So why are you more comfortable saying that and not so comfortable with the political side of
it? Stronger opinion on religion than politics.
Okay. All right. That's fair enough. Yeah, I don't understand why they get a pass either. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. And, and the people out there that are saying, that the Bible tells you that you shouldn't cover your face and all this kind of bullshit. I don't know. It's just, oh man, I don't even want to get into it really. It's just so silly, but it infuriates me that there are different rules for different people, and, we should be able to tell everybody, look, for public safety, for the safety of the world, just put a goddamn mask on. I don't care what your religion is, whatever. Maybe if you have some kind of health consequence, which I don't even know what that health consequence would be, where you can't wear a mask. Maybe somebody like, your grandfather that had a double lung transplant maybe doesn't need to be wearing a mask and constricting his breathing. But
Right.
other than that, I don't even know what the rules would be for a medical exemption. But I
Yeah,
was
it's
up
just
at
so.
Lotus Foods today drinking a beer, and you're supposed to have a mask to come into the grocery store. All the employees are supposed to wear a mask, and there was a guy up at the counter ordering a beer that didn't have a mask on. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you even serving this guy? You should tell him to get the fuck out because he's not obeying the rules. And then I looked down and I saw they had flat feet. So I said, oh, well, maybe because he's got flat feet, he can't wear a mask. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are.
I don't know. I don't think. I think it's up to the individual employee too that might just let something slip because they're like, I'm not going to tell people not to wear to wear a
Yeah,
mask.
people don't like confrontations or conflicts. So it's definitely a problem with employees not taking a stand with their customers. But I was at Homegrown Brew House last night, and there was some customers that came in and walked up to the bar without a mask on. And if I was still working there, I would have turned them away and said go somewhere else. But the bartender that is working there now did not turn them away. So by the time I got out of there at 9 o'clock, I was glad I was leaving because it was getting a little silly. But
Yeah, it's I don't know. Yeah, it's just going back to the church thing. It's just self-righteousness. It's what all of it is. So self-absorption. That's all they care about is their themselves. They think that congregating in a building to worship something that if it is real doesn't fucking care about you is important. It's not. You want to worship, that's fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with spirituality and doing something that helps you and makes you feel good about yourself and about your place in the world. But you can do it virtually. Don't be so self-obsessed with your thing that you have to go somewhere and not wear a mask to do it. I think that's ridiculous. It's if people treated it like it is a self-help activity, a hobby, a club that you attend, then you could do it virtually. But the minute you say you can't go into that space and do that thing without a mask on, people freak out because it's their cornerstone. It's such a big deal. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
yeah, it's a little silly.
Kids are learning virtually. Everything's happened virtually. Just do it virtually.
Yeah.
Jesus is in your heart. Why you got to be in a building?
Yeah, that's true. And there was a lot of people, before this whole breakout that I would have conversations with about, going to church and, why do you have to go to church on Sunday and Wednesday and, 5 days out of the week or whatever that you're going to church. You can worship from home. You can do it whenever. And people said, oh, well, religion is not a church and religion is not this and that. Well, all of a sudden it's now a church. All of a sudden you have to go to church. Once this COVID thing started up, now all of a sudden, oh, we have to be in a church to worship. I don't understand why the mindset changed, but I think it's just trying to buck the whole system as far as the pandemic goes. But
yeah,
again,
people just don't want to.
Those people are mostly Trump supporters. I mean, let's be honest.
I'll say that about Christians.
I
Say that all day about Christians.
Not Trump supporters, but Republicans. Let's go there.
Yeah, more conservative than not, most likely.
Yeah. You haven't even said anything about the shirt I'm wearing.
Oh yeah, Paragon.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Look at that.
They got some new shirts. They're pretty cool. They just had their 10-year anniversary last week or the week before, I think.
Really, 10 years.
10 years. So they got some shirts made that are pretty cool. Go to ParagonAthletics.com and buy one. Support local gyms. Don't support any of those big box gyms. Support your local gym.
Right. Yeah, and I was showing a friend of mine a video that she did the other day. Well, I don't know when it was. I don't know what the date was on it, but I guess it was Ryan's birthday or something. You did a video about carrying a bucket with some rocks and kettlebell in it, whatever. But so you still...
I did. I still got the bruises.
Yeah. So I know you worked there for a long time, but you still heavily support those guys, right?
Yeah, I worked there for about a little over 3 years, and yeah, love them. Love the business. Love the philosophy of what they do over there. Heavily influenced my outlook on fitness and the body and what's good for you and what's maybe something to stray away from, and especially in relation to pain and function out in the real world. Got a lot of great ideas. Ryan is a savant of the subject and just has the mind for it and built something really amazing from the ground up. So support them any chance I can.
What is Ryan's background? Is he a physical therapist or is he just an athletic trainer? I mean, what's his deal?
So he's an athlete first. His dad was a race jockey, um, which until I met Ryan, I didn't know was such an intense sport, but it is. Um, so
Like a horse,
he's a
like
race
on a horse?
jockey, and his dad kind of, yeah, horse jockey,
Okay.
and his dad kind of gave him the bug of being an athlete and working hard, and just putting pedal to the metal in everything you do. And so Ryan kind of took that on towards climbing and training. And so he was actually a sponsored athlete, a climbing athlete back in the day, and learned from a couple different people, and then just got really invested in fixing himself and helping others fix themselves as well. And I say fix, that's probably what he would have said back then, but really, adapting themselves would probably be a better term to use. But he just took that and got a couple certifications in training, things like that, and then decided to open up his own thing. And he kind of fell because he was so good at what he did. He was training people, and people would get hurt or have some little tweaks, some twinges, pains, and he just started working with it and figuring stuff out in terms of that, and kind of just built himself up to be a very well-read, well-researched trainer. And now, nothing against physical therapy, but people who might not have gone to a very good clinic, a very good clinician, and not have gotten help from that person or a few people in some cases in terms of pain and function. They go to Ryan and have great experiences and get better within, a few weeks to a month. And he just has the mind for it and has built himself a reputation for being good at dealing with pain and function and athletic training. And so he's kind of just self-made in that regard, and celebrated 10 years with his wife Betsy, who's co-owner, and the other trainer there, Laurel. And yeah, they're just continuing to do amazing things. They put on some online programming that I'll plug here. ParagonAthletics.com. Go there. They have online packages now for very, very affordable prices. Constantly putting content up. Strength classes, endurance classes, whatever your gig is, running, strength training, climbing, hiking. They got all sorts of programs for you, and they're doing injury packs now. So if you got any tweaks, Achilles pain, heel pain, knee pain, shoulder pain, elbow pain, you got all these different injuries or tweaks and stuff, pain that you have. They are putting together some packages for people that you can do online, follow a program, and hopefully get out of those little sticky situations and get back to being active. So encourage everyone to go over there and either get an online membership or buy one of those packages. And if you got one of those specific little tweaks that you're trying to work through, they'll help you out.
Right. So how did you even get hooked up with those guys? I mean, I think I know that, of course, your mother and I were both in the medical career field. I was in physical therapy, occupational therapy, a little bit of chiropractic. Your mother, of course, is a nurse. How did you get hooked up with Paragon? And did you get hooked up with them because that was just your background? I mean, do you feel like you had a background in fitness and nutrition and stuff because of your parents, and then just you had that interest and you said, oh, well, this would be a good job for me to have, and just kind of searched out an athletic facility? Or how'd you get involved with those guys, I guess, is a big question.
Fell into it. I came to Flagstaff to go to school, Northern Arizona University, alums. And then, I wanted to do something with screenwriting, filmmaking. We were always into that growing up with you. And so I wanted to, maybe break into being a production person or a screenwriter or something in filmmaking in Hollywood or New York. So I took a few courses, majored in that, and then always had a strong desire to be in some kind of public service due to you guys, due to some other family members as well. So then I tried criminal justice. Nothing was really kind of sticking. It was all kind of interesting, but didn't really know what I wanted to do, and the classes weren't very interesting, honestly. And then, by that time, I'd been working out and trying to be educated on health since high school. So, and we had done a few Spartan races by then. So I figured there was a new degree that had just come out called Fitness Wellness. Talked to my advisor about it and thought, I like to work out. Let's do it. That's interesting. And so took a few classes, liked it, and decided, you know what, I got to graduate sometime. I'm already a semester behind, so I'm going to stick with this. And I liked the subject matter. It's something that you could learn while experimenting on yourself. And it's something everyone needs and everyone goes through, and it should be a big part of everyone's lives. So I figured it was a noble thing to endeavor to get a degree in. And in my capstone class, which you have to get an internship for, I had written a lot of papers on kettlebells and, at that time, functional fitness, corrective exercise, things I was interested in, functional training type things, maces, kettlebells, all those implements, and had done a lot of research on a lot of the pioneers of those tools and those types of programs. And so my professor, who looks around town and down in Phoenix and stuff for internship sites, she mentioned that she had just gotten in contact with a new site that she was trying to bring on to the program as one of the internships. And, from my papers and things, she thought it would be a good fit. It's called Paragon Athletics. So I went down and met Ryan. I was the first intern that they were interviewing for, because they were going to be a new internship site. So I didn't really know how to interview for internships, and Ryan didn't really know how to interview people for internships. So we kind of just shot the shit about kettlebells while he was teaching a class. And I immediately walked in to the gym. He was around, cueing people, helping people. Everyone looked insanely athletic, and there were kettlebells everywhere, dumbbells everywhere, bands on the walls, pull-up bars. There's a climbing wall in the back. The office was a loft. 2 garage doors opened up in the space. And then here comes this guy walking towards me who, has kind of a soul patch. His hair's a mess. He's super jacked, but he's just, got the biggest smile, helping people and joking around with people, and just gives me a super informal interview. And as I turn to walk away, there's a tapestry of Bruce Lee hanging from the wall and a poster of Muhammad Ali on the wall, and just fell in love with the place immediately going in. And really good, just personality at that point, because I really didn't know anything. He quizzed me quizzed me on things that, and I didn't know anything about anything. So I thought I failed the interview. because I didn't know shit that I thought I knew. But anyway, just kind of fell into it that way and interned for them my last semester of school, and apparently did a good job because they offered me a job after I graduated, and I stuck around and learned more in probably the first year I was there, learned more than all 4 years of college.
Wow.
In terms of training and helping people and what was actually applicable and what was outdated and what worked, what didn't work. So, you know, felt like an idiot for a while. Still felt like an idiot when I left, honestly, but you know, I had a little bit more of a solid background. But
I
yeah,
mean, I
just
did
kind of stumbled
21
into
years
it.
in the military, and I still felt like I didn't know anything when I left. So,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the healthcare industry in general, but then it's also training is such a broad thing, and anyone can do it. But to do it well, you actually have to know some shit, and a lot of people don't. And I'm very fortunate that I hit a place that could impart on me the knowledge that actually makes change and helps people, and is very intelligent. So,
right.
Yeah, fell into it. Now you know, I got a different job, a university job, but I'm still always helping people who message me on Instagram, and you know, trying to put up some videos, experimenting on myself, keeping up with the research in hopes that one day I'll be back in it, because that is really what I feel most comfortable in. That is what I'm passionate about. So hopefully I'm at least only part-time at a desk in the future,
Right.
and full-time helping people.
Yeah. So I just put this up so they can go to Dale's Fit on Instagram, right? And you put up all your videos and stuff up there. It's
Yeah,
mostly a
not
fitness
as
Instagram.
yeah, not as prolific as it was when I was working there, but there's definitely a backlog of some videos, and always available to chat about anything and everything. And you know, I try to keep up with a lot of the industry leaders on Instagram and stuff. So made a few connections there. But yeah, I don't really post a lot nowadays, but what I do post is usually fitness related. So
Yeah. And you do what now for NAU? What do you do over there?
I
Is
am
it even
a
worth talking
student
about? Is it
service.
interesting? Oh.
It's not. It's not that interesting. More interesting. I mean, we could talk about the state of education in a pandemic
Yeah, I mean that was one thing I was going to bring up.
role
Is
in the
I
university,
know
but
I know people were trying to get, or the president, I say people, but a lot of people that support the president are saying, hey, we need to get the kids back to school this fall. But is that the same thing for universities? I mean, are they trying to push that same agenda?
yeah, I mean, it's even more hairy for the universities, honestly, because especially in Arizona, you know, public schools are funded by the state, obviously. We're a public institution, and Arizona is notoriously underfunding education. It's pretty much their reputation across the board is that they don't really appreciate putting money into education. So, you know, our public schools lack for it, but that also translates into the universities as well, because they are public institutions. So, you know, we've gotten, I think we, at one point, a long time ago, we were getting like 35 to 45% uh, money from the state, and then the rest was tuition dollars. And now we're getting 16% from the state, and the rest is tuition dollars. So this pandemic has really actually thrown public yeah, of trying to grab at straws to, you know, all of the amenities and high level they have to provide. So it's been a pretty hard grind, money for this next semester, and you know, the future in general. So
Yeah. Well, that kind of kind of blows, man, really. And and then you got the president that's saying, if these states don't put their kids back to school, that he's going to cut more funding or deny them funding or whatever. So it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to do about it. And then you have a doctor out there that says that the kids haven't been out and about during this whole pandemic. They've been at home, so we haven't done testing on kids. We don't know how this thing is affecting kids a whole lot. There's not a lot of data and science out there, so we're going to force these kids to go back into a school and be, we know that they're going to be non-compliant with masks. I mean, they're not going to, they're fidgety. They're going to take it on and off. They're not going to social distance because they like to interact with other kids and they want to touch and feel and do all these kind of things and hug and everything else with all these other kids, the friends that they have. So just a big ball of wax, man, that I don't think we need to get into this early this fall, especially in the states that are having these hotspots like yours and mine and Florida and Texas and California. But I don't know. I just don't think it's the right move. Even on university, really, with older people. But
yeah, I mean, it is a hard area to negotiate with because, at least at the university level, you can't really have everyone not come to school. We rely on staff, faculty. Everybody relies on tuition dollars, and if you're not at least tried some in-person services for the tuition price, then people aren't going to come or people aren't going to pay. They're going to go to a private institution that has money because they didn't get cut by the state. That can still give you, a really nice library and a really good dining hall and really good pay for in their tuition. I went to college.
Man, you're cutting in and out pretty badly at this point. Oh, well, we lost him. Maybe he's going to come back. I don't know. I knew we were going to have some problems with some connection, but it did pretty well there for a while, right, guys? And now all of a sudden,
yeah.
Are you there?
I'm back.
Yeah, you cut out for a second.
Yeah.
You started getting real kind of glitchy, and then all of a sudden it just went dark. But that's what happens, right?
Yeah, you're a little glitchy too.
Oh yeah.
Too.
Yeah. So how does that work? So
Tacoma, American flag.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So how does that work? So if you're doing virtual stuff there at NAU versus actually sitting in a classroom, is it less tuition? I mean, are they discounting pricing and stuff like that?
No. They kind of are. Basically, they put a policy where basically every class has to put all their content online just in case someone has COVID, doesn't want to come to class, or needs to stay home. They're putting everything online, so they had to switch everything. And they put in new technology to each lecture hall, a bunch of different cameras and things. So that's a little bit more of an immersive experience online than it would be if it was just, a traditional online class, which is usually you don't even get, you'll get, readings and assignments handed out to you. Mm-hmm. So they put all this new technology in, and then they also made it more class times available so that people could go in sessions. So basically, in a class that was Friday, you'd be broken up into like 10 or 15 people, and you would only go to class one day a week out of those 3 days, and the rest would be online. So more of a hybrid schedule. as far as that goes, you're going to pay full tuition in state or out of state. There is a waiver that you can fill out to get, but in your fees. So they're making it as accessible as possible and trying to make it as normal as possible, even though there's really not going to be any normal. But people still get dorm housing. It's just a little bit more space. They're trying to make it, doing the best they can. It's you in your.
Man, I think you might have gone again. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here, Brian. We might have to cut this thing fucking short. I've got a glitch on my end now too. But I can't hear anything.
I'm not talking right now. Can you hear me now?
There you go. You're back now. Yeah. You were going through all this stuff, and then all of a sudden you just went silent, and then your screen froze, and then I didn't hear anything. So I don't know. But basically, what you
connections
is there's no discounts whatsoever. I mean, you still got to pay the full fucking price, even though you're not physically in a class.
Well, it's 25% discount to fees, but yeah, there's no tuition discount.
I didn't hear that part, but yeah.
But
so the fees, what kind of fees are we talking about? I mean, what are we discounting? What's the 25%?
Well, basically, tuition goes to the faculty most of the time. All the and to a lot of the like dining hall, a lot of these amenities. But tuition is mostly just covers your courses, right? Content, your basically, and then you have additional fees that cover a bunch of initiatives for the campus and a bunch of other things that you get included in the campus, like campus transportation, campus health and services, campus scholarship fund, which is, how they get a lot of the more, they ask everyone to help out with that. End up being, an additional, like, I don't know, $1,000 maybe, and you get a 25% discount on that.
All right. I mean, I guess that's their choice. They could go somewhere else if they didn't like what the fees were or what they were paying. So, or just not go to school at all. But I thought there would be a little more cost effectiveness, I guess, going on with this whole thing going on. But I guess 25% is a good discount, really.
I mean, it's better than nothing, and you got to realize that the city is in no position to give a bunch of discounts because the state doesn't care about education. So they didn't care then, and now because they didn't care then, we have to keep our prices high. The cost of education goes up because the government doesn't care about education. And now the cost of education is super high in general, and then we're in a state that doesn't care. So,
right.
If things had been a little bit different before the pandemic, we might not be in this situation, and kids could get an affordable education and be okay with the hybrid model or the online model. But, there's really nothing the universities can do because they got to stay open.
Yeah. And I think that's the problem with a lot of the public schools as well, as far as elementary, middle, high school, whatever, is, they're saying, look, you want us to reopen, but you got to give us some funding. You got to give us some extra money on top of maybe the low funding that you're already fucking giving me, because we're going to have to supply masks, and we're going to have to, update our filtration system and our air conditioning and all this other kind of stuff. And we're going to have to put up barriers and borders and distancing and all this kind of thing. So, the schools are screaming, you want us to open up? Well, you got to give us the funds and the means to open up safely. But that's not happening either.
Right. Well, and I think this is and I don't think they should. I think teachers in schools should stand their ground and say, hey, fuckers, maybe now's the time to pay us more.
Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad thing to make that part of the protest. Is look, now's a good time to say, hey, we need some change in the educational system, as well as some change in the social system and the racial system and Black Lives Matter and whatever other thing you want to throw into it. I mean, it seems like now is the time to, if you have a voice and you want to put something out there and you want to exhibit some change, now might be the time to do it. Now might be the time to scream.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's the perfect time. I mean, say what you want about the pandemic. You can be extreme one way and say it's all conspiracy, or you can be the other way and say that the government's trying to kill its own people or something. I don't know, by not taking care of it. But in any case, whatever your view on the pandemic is, it definitely has shined a huge light on a lot of the issues and underlying, infrastructure issues that we have in our country. And I think,
Yeah.
If nothing else, whether it's a hoax, whether it's real and killing a bunch of people, either way, our healthcare system, our education system, our preparedness for things like this, our international relations, everything was affected by this situation, and really brought to light that we are a house of cards, and
Yeah,
we should probably fix
absolutely. It. Hopefully everybody should be, from the government on down to the individual, you and me should be rewriting all their contingency plans and rethinking life in general. And, what is important, what's not important, currency, pandemics, sanitization, stock of, masks and ventilators and all this other kind of stuff. And hopefully, and I think it has, it's helped rewrite a lot of rules and constitutions and laws and stuff, and people are just going to kind of rethink how we run this country and even more so the world.
Hopefully, probably won't happen for another 10 years, but maybe this is the seed. It'll sprout into a good thing.
I'll probably see it toward the end of my lifetime, the fruits of all this labor and all this suffering that we're doing right now. But hopefully you guys, the younger guys, are going to see a huge change, like you said, in 10, 15, 20 years or whatever. But
yeah.
And I think you guys are driving a lot of
what?
Girls, the 30-year-olds are driving a lot of the progressive movements that are going on in this country. But
oh yeah, I mean, I think, and I think liberal, conservative, whatever you are, I think a huge issue is that there is not current generational representation in any of our public domains.
Say that one more time.
I don't think there's any generational representation in any of our governing bodies.
Okay.
I think that's a part of the issue is you got a bunch of old white guys from a different generation with different technology and different social policies and different ways of thinking and different education backgrounds that are running a country full of a new generation that has different thoughts and wants and needs and changes to make. And I just think there needs to be kind of a mass exodus of the older generation to let some new ideas and new policies come through. And that's probably never going to happen because that's the whole point. The other generation says, no, this is mine. It's not going to change because this is the way it's always been. This is the way it's going to be. And this is how it's worked. But it doesn't work anymore. And I think the older the person in politics, the more resistant to the kind of change this new generation needs that they are. So I think that's a huge problem too. Bunch of old people.
Right. And, one of the huge benefits, I served my country. I did 21 years in the Air Force, obviously, and I don't regret any of that. But you know, I don't have the support and the love that I had of the military when I was actually serving when I was in there. I think I don't know. Let's get off that subject. But what I was going to say is the good thing about the military is you always had a changeover. You always had, you don't have these people that are sitting in Congress for 40, 50, 60 years and doing the same job. And like you said, it is a bunch of old white guys. I mean, let's be honest. But the good thing about the military was you always changed locations every 2, 3, 4 years or whatever. You always had fresh blood that came into the military, that came into a base, and they would come in and say, "Why are you doing this way?" And somebody would actually say that, it's always been done this way. That's the way it's always been done. And you always had fresh eyes that would come in and say, "Well, that's stupid. We need to start doing it this way." And you would rewrite what we called instructions, or they used to call them regulations back in the day. But people would come in and come in with fresh ideas because you always had a turnover. You always had change. And I think that's where, people talk about the term limits and all this kind of stuff need to come in, that we need to get some of these old people out of there that are just doing the same old things over and over and over and over again. And I think that's what's kind of ruining this country. And I think that's what Trump is supporting. He keeps talking about draining the swamp, but it seems like to me he's doing the same old stuff that's always been done. Even though the perception is that he's not. But I think that was the good thing about the military is you always had changeover. And I guess what I'm getting to is we need changeover in government at the big level, at the top level. The mayors and the governors and everybody else seem to kind of change out quite frequently, but you have all these people that are in Congress and the House and the Senate and things like that that just stay there forever. And ideas never change. They never get upgraded. And, change, what they say is the only constant, right? But it doesn't seem like that happens at the highest level.
No. I mean, we're still, for the most part, holding on to a 200-year-old document to govern extremely large and technologically advanced nation. So, I mean, that right there is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we could talk about politics all day, but I hate talking about politics, so I want to get off of that subject. But hopefully, eventually, soon, one day, I'm going to come and see actually what is going on in Arizona. I keep talking about it. I've talked about it for 5 years that I was going to get on the road and come out, start traveling and come out that direction for sure. But this freaking pandemic and the riots and everything else that's going on has really put a damper into some of my travel plans. But hopefully I'm going to get out there eventually and check it out for myself and see what's going on and see how it differs from what's going on in South Carolina for sure. But,
yep. Selling all your shit.
Selling all the shit, man. Not as much as I want to be selling. A lot of shit sitting out there that needs to sell, but I just got to keep dropping the price, and eventually somebody's going to buy it. Had my dad come over today, granddaddy, and picked up a bunch of the china that I still had left and took it to some thrift store down the road. So he's helping me kind of get rid of some stuff as well that I can't sell.
Yep. All that shit's worthless.
Yeah. So I guess we can talk about that real quick, right? Minimalism?
Sure. I love minimalism.
I mean, unless you got something else you want to talk about, and we can talk about that and wrap it up, I guess. But
no, I mean,
I got a roast downstairs that's smelling really good right now.
Yep, because you fasted.
Yeah, I talked about all that stuff up front, but
all that up front shit's gonna be cut. Doesn't matter.
It's not being cut. I'll tell people if you want to see Brian, go to 1 hour in.
Listen, we got to talk about how you run this podcast because
No, we don't. Because I run.
No, it's not. You need to have some rules embedded in your business structure, man.
I've got some rules. My rule is no filter. That's my rule.
listen, you talked about like all your new equipment for like 30 minutes, and then the theme music came on, and you introduced yourself. That's not how it should be.
That's how it should be sometimes. People like it. I get feedback, man. People love it. They
Listen,
like what I'm doing.
Listen. I've seen the people you interact with on your Facebook. I don't think that their comments are worth you not being able to change shit up.
Oh, those people aren't watching the podcast. Trust me, those people have no clue I even have a podcast, probably.
Those Facebook people, man. Facebook in general. You're posting articles and stuff. That's the way you should do it, and then actually read them. But man,
yeah.
those fucking Neanderthals on Facebook.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It is ridiculous, but I enjoy it.
I know it's
fun.
No, I know. It's kind of like a hobby for you, but I actually have you unfollowed on Facebook, so I don't see any of your posts. But then sometimes I go and just type in your name just to see what stupid shit people are saying on your stuff. Because most of the time, sometimes you do say opinion things, and I think on Facebook, you can have like a overarching opinion about an article or something, but in general, I don't think you should just do big blobs of opinion pieces with nothing attached to it, because I think that's how people are like, well, no, this is fucking what this said, and this fucking, and no one puts any references or anything in it.
Right.
But it's just a fucking echo chamber of stupidity, Facebook.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, probably a lot of stuff I say is.
I mean, it's fun as a hobby, that's how you use it pretty much. But the other day
I'll be honest, I use it. I mean, a lot of people that follow me on my personal page actually follow my Craft Conversations page as well. So I kind of use it more as like a Howard Stern type thing, where I'm just trying to be. A lot of times, I'm trying to be controversial, and it's kind of like that in the movie Private Parts, where the guy comes in talking about the ratings of the radio show, Howard Stern, and says that there's more listeners that don't like Howard Stern, that they just want to see what he's going to say next. So I kind of use that same mantra as well. Hopefully people want to see what I'm going to say next. So.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
There you go, everyone. That's the motivation for all you people watching this show.
Right. Yeah. People want to know. They want to know what Brian's going to say.
I don't know. Some of those fucking people. Even people on, I was reading a little Flagstaff City government post that they posted, just saying like, hey, these are the new policies for masks or whatever. And just the stupid shit everyone was saying on those comments. It's ridiculous. And all I did, I posted, some things about masks. Because it was like one of the only times I've ever commented since this pandemic thing happened. But I just felt like it's my town. This is a city post. I'll comment. And it was a comment that was like, just wear your fucking mask, be kind to people, do it out of respect, do it, this, that. I think you saw it. I posted it as an actual post too. I posted it as a comment first.
Yeah.
And, this random lady in Flagstaff just said, this is all incorrect. This is dumb. You're trampling on my freedoms. This is all incorrect. You're misinformed. And literally, all I did was first I said, I appreciate your opinion, Nancy or whatever the fuck her name was. But, this comment is informed by the CDC and OSHA. And, and then she commented back and said, wrong. This is not what CDC and OSHA say. Masks are not helping and not recommended and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so then the next comment, I literally just went to the CDC page and to the OSHA page, and I just put big blocks of quote that clearly stated the recommendation for masks and the explanation for the recommendation for masks. She didn't comment back because, once you actually put it, they can't say anything else. It's all just opinion. It's all just shouting and opinions until you actually put blocks of quote from the web pages, and they're like, "Oh."
Well, a lot of times it's not even opinions. I mean, it's just echoing or parroting what somebody else said. It's not even their opinion. They're just, Trump said it and then it just echoes down, or your other Republican friend said it and just echoes down, or it's the meme of the day and they just take those words off of the meme. I mean, people don't even have opinions anymore.
No. And then if you do have an opinion, even if someone reads that, then you have those people who are like, oh, well, the CDC is bought by the government, by the liberals.
Oh yeah,
CDC is bought by China.
They make up some other excuse. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the CDC's just trying to make sure China gets some bullshit. I think that's one of the worst things. I think it's the fundamental problem of our time right now, is that there is no authority that anyone respects anymore.
Yeah.
Like the CDC was put there to do one thing, to study and inform the public on infectious disease. So it's its whole job.
Yeah.
And it has no agenda. It's purely research. And you can tell by the way all the leading scientists and stuff aren't agreeing with Trump or agreeing with any of the other people. They're just saying this is what it's supposed to be, matter of factly. And that's their role. And we are such a jaded society due to Facebook, social media, and all these different outlets of information and fast information, not even articles that people read through, just little snippets. We're just a fast info culture, that there's no authority that is something you can look to and respect anymore. The thing that's telling people to wear masks, it's the organization that was put there to do that one thing, to tell you to wear a mask if it's necessary. And people are like, no, the masks are fake. That's fake information. It's just dumb. And that's for everything, yeah? There is nothing but God, Jesus Christ, that anyone will respect and take seriously.
Yeah. And I mean, that's even coming even more to the forefront, as far as conservatives and Republicans and things, and Fox News. I mean, I think I made a post the other day that Fox News is more like God News at this point. I mean, every damn show that I watch, because I watch everything. I don't just watch CNN. I don't just watch, leftist type media. I watch everything and anything to make sure I get informed from both sides and I get information from both sides. But lately, everything I've been watching on Fox News is God this, God that, God this. Everything has to do with God at this point. So I don't know what is going on, but it's become very religious, that you have to believe in God to be a Republican or a conservative. But anyway, I thought we were talking about minimalism. How do we get back into this thing?
Man, Facebook. It ruins everything.
Right.
But yeah, minimalism. I feel like I am the one who brought it to this family, so I'll take credit for it.
No, I agree with that.
But yeah, kind of just fell into, I had, really what started it was I wanted to make a big change because I had just broken up with a college, gotten out of a college relationship that lasted a few years. And also a lot of my friends had left because I had to stay for school, an extra semester too. And I was moving out of my apartment into a new apartment. I said, fuck it. I don't need any of this shit. it's one of those moments, thinking back, now I'm married. I don't give a shit about that relationship. It doesn't really matter to me very much. But once you get out of something like that, it's kind of like a dynamic shift where you kind of look at things and go, why do I have all of this stuff?
Right.
And so I just, as I was moving, I was just like, got into minimalism, first of all. I can't remember really who, I found the minimalist guys, and I watched their documentary. Actually, it was the documentary. So I was kind of dabbling in it, and then I watched the documentary, and I thought the documentary was amazing. Probably isn't amazing. It probably, if I watched it again, those guys are pretty pompous. But when I watched it, it was pretty good. So I just got the bug, and I started throwing everything away. Everything. I was growing up, as you know, in high school. I collected action figures, Star Wars memorabilia, superhero memorabilia, comic books, bunch of comic books, DVDs, special edition stuff. Kept all my medals from Taekwondo, all my Spartan stuff, all my achievements. Kept schoolwork in some instances, that I thought was pretty good. So just had a bunch of shit, and so I went through it all and got rid of it all. The comic books and everything, those were the hardest things. But as the minimalist guy says, there's always a barrier that you're going to stop at on a minimalist journey, that you think that's going to be your line. You think, oh no, this person gave me this, or oh, I've loved this ever since then. And if you can, minimalism is individual for everyone, but if you can, you need to go past that line. And luckily, I am past that line. So I took all my comic books and everything, and I was like, I never fucking read these. They were great. They look great. I don't care. And that was my line, getting rid of all the action figures, all the Star Wars stuff, all the comic books.
Right. Well, I thought, for one thing, I thought you were saving all that stuff, as far as an investment, like maybe, you'd make some money off of that eventually one day, but.
Yeah, and I did make some money. I mean, I sold everything in like a garage sale type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got rid of everything. Got rid of all my clothes. Only had like 20 pieces of clothing. Got rid of all my shoes, all my just all the junk.
Yeah.
And once I did, I just felt so good. And you continue to feel good. You're just light. There's thinking about things that you have and seeing the things that you have, and just realizing how much shit you don't use and how much space it takes. Just mentally, it helps to clear all that stuff out. It's similar to you study better, and you get more stuff done in a clean room as opposed to a dirty room, and that's kind of like expanded into your whole life. You feel like your whole life's dirty, just cluttered with junk, and once you realize that, you can't be productive. You can't do anything else without getting rid of all that shit.
Yeah. And I agree. I mean, I started this purge. I mean, I really started this purge, I guess, 2016, I guess, is when you and Alec actually went to the storage unit there in Vegas and emptied that motherfucker out. So I didn't have to pay for that goddamn storage unit, because I was storing shit that half of it wasn't even mine. I mean, a lot of it was your mother's, and a lot of it, some of it was even damaged. It wasn't even fucking functional. But yeah, I had a storage unit there, and then I had another storage unit here in South Carolina. So I was paying for two different storage units of stuff that I wasn't even using, and I hadn't used in some of it. I hadn't used in a decade, but I was keeping it for some reason. So. The first relief, like you said, you feel lighter and feel freer. The first relief and freeing that I had was when you guys went to Vegas and cleaned out that storage unit. That made me feel a ton lighter, and of course, put more money in my pocket. And then the same thing.
Put money in our pocket.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, here when I cleaned out my storage unit,
put money in my pocket too.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Everybody deserves a little bit of cash, but and then I cleaned out the storage unit here and moved it all into my house. And all I did was take that storage unit and I stored it in a fucking house. You know, it was still more stuff that that I didn't use, that was just sitting there. That you know, some of it's been sitting up here in this attic for the last 5 years. Some of it's been sitting in a cabinet, in a drawer, in the garage, and I'm happy to be getting rid of all this fucking bullshit. It's stuff that's been following me around for hell since I moved out of the house in 1992. Some of this stuff has been with me, and since '92, some of the stuff I have not used once, and it's finally good to be getting some of this shit out of my life.
Yeah. I mean, and I honestly, I don't even care if this makes me sound kind of pretentious, but I think that storage units are disgusting. I think anyone who owns a storage unit is doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You don't need that much shit.
100%. I don't see how storage units are making money, but they are making money hand and fist. I mean, any corner I go and turn around on in this town right now either has a new gas station, a new car wash, or a new storage unit. Those are the three main things I see going up anywhere in this town.
Yep. Well, especially with, you know, they're probably more popular than ever because of Amazon. You know, you can just order stupid shit all day long and then just keep it in a storage unit.
Yeah, I mean, there's always been the home shopping network. There's always been stuff where you can just get shit.
That's true.
Yeah, but definitely Amazon has made it even more convenient. But
you just don't need it, and it's a bunch of money just sitting there. You know, you could sell all that shit and not pay for a storage unit.
Yeah. But you know, most of it is what? Sentimental value, right? I mean, people hold on to stuff for sentimental value. I think it's the probably biggest reason that people hold on to things is for the memories, for sentimental.
Yeah.
And that was a hard thing for me to come to terms with when I started going into this minimalism thing. Because I've got, you know, a lot of military memorabilia, uniforms, whatever, plaques, awards, like you said, Spartan marathon, ultra marathon, 5K, 10K race medals, taekwondo, trophies. I mean, a lot of stuff is sentimental stuff that you're like, how do I get rid of this stuff? But you just have to, right? I mean, what is it doing for you?
You got to push that line, you know. I was sentimental about my action figures and things. I was sentimental about some things, you know, gifts that maybe you or mom gave me or something, or that you know, grandparents had given me, and that was something where I was like, oh, but you know, you should keep all this stuff, but you shouldn't. And now it's to the point where, you know, it's to the point now if anyone gets me something shitty that I know I won't use, I return it and get the money or dump it. And with every card, because, you know, everyone saves cards and most of them don't have really anything interesting to say but happy birthday or whatever else.
Dude, when I went through these 5 boxes that I pulled out of my attic the other day, one of them was a box full of trophies that I've had since, you know, I was a fucking, not even a teenager. I mean, you know, from early age, I've got some trophies over here from T-ball and some from Little League and things like that. And one of the boxes had a bunch of, like you said, greeting cards. And one of the envelopes that I found was a FedEx envelope. I guess I had sent it back from Iraq, back to our house in Alaska before I left Iraq. But a lot of it was, you know, cards that I gotten from my grandmother, from my parents, from, of course, your mother, from you guys, you know, a Father's Day card, whatever, when I was deployed. And, I had a stack of greeting cards like this. They came out of one box that I was saving. What was I saving it for? So, you know, of course, I opened it up and I read a couple things in there, and I read a couple letters from my grandmother and things, and got a little emotional and had some memories come back, and that was fine. But then, you know what? They went in the fire pit out in the backyard. So they're gone, but they're in my head. I remember them.
Yeah. Well, and those people don't care, and they just take up space. I mean, I'm not gonna keep fucking cards around. I rip up every card that I read it, and I hold on to it for a second and think how nice it was for someone to send me this card and write in this card and think of me on whatever day it is that the card is addressing. And then I rip it up, throw it in the trash.
Yeah, that's what I do with them now too. I used to save stuff and put them in a drawer, and I mean, I've gone through this entire house, and not only that box did I find that stack of cards, but I went through different drawers in my bedroom, a drawer here, a drawer there, a drawer over there, a cabinet here. I had fucking greeting cards everywhere, from whether it be from Christmas, from Valentine's Day, from just whatever, miss you, thinking of you cards.
Yep.
I had cards. Oh, I had so many. I could open up my own Hallmark store, really, with all the cards that I had, but I burned them all. And
Yeah, I think everyone can.
And, you know, every single Christmas, I tell my parents, my brothers, everybody involved that's going to be celebrating Christmas for the last 5 years, I said, don't get me anything. And what happens every year? I get something that I'm not using. Every freaking year. Even though I tell people don't get me anything, they still get me something. I'm like, I told you not to get me a thing.
Yeah.
And then it just sits there and I don't use it. And, you know, I threw some things away the other day that I felt bad about throwing away because I got them for Christmas from people that love me and that they want to give me stuff and have me use things. And I'm like, I don't use it. I threw it away.
Yep.
Matter of fact, the Patagonia shirt and shorts that you and Allie got me, they're gone. I tossed them. I don't need them. I don't use them.
You didn't like them?
No, I liked them, but they didn't go with the stuff that I'm keeping with what I needed. So I got.
Oh my God.
Oh. See?
Now you took it too far.
Yeah, I did. So.
No, I throw away expensive shit all the time that people spent expensive money on, hard-earned money on.
Yeah, I mean, if I can make $1 off of it, I try and sell it, obviously. But a lot of stuff just went to you know, I didn't throw the shirt and the shorts away, but they went to some kind of Goodwill box or, you know, clothing box or something somewhere that somebody will use. Somebody will get some use out of it, but
yeah,
just wasn't for me.
I think it's important. I mean, you know, it's hard because it is a counterculture. I mean, we're at the height of a capitalist society that thrives on people buying things. So,
yeah,
you know,
counterculture for sure for us. I mean, for anybody really, for China, for us, but for the big countries,
yeah,
we're all capitalists. We're all about making a buck, and you know, as far as all these big companies, I mean, you can't go 1 year without increasing your profits. If you don't increase your profit every year, then you're not a good company. You're not doing well. And what does that mean? That means consumers have to be buying more of your product. So it's, I don't know. The capitalist society just sucks, I think. I don't know. I mean, I think we need a blend of some capitalist and some socialist type society stuff, but capitalism is just, it's nothing but making us sad, I think.
Well, I think it's a double-edged. I mean, you know, it is making us sad and cluttered, and I think it has an impact on a lot of our mental health issues and stuff, and a lot of our politics. But you know, we wouldn't have gotten to be, you know, at one point, because I love the United States of America, but I can't in good conscience say it's the greatest nation in the world anymore. But you know, it's a wonderful place, and we would not have gotten here without the competition of capitalism, you know, leading to all these different inventions and all that stuff, and putting us on the map in terms of domestic product. So I do think that it was important to get here, and I think that in some way it needs to stay in some fashion, but yeah, be blended with maybe some socialist concepts and stuff. But you know, by and large, I think capitalism has done wonders for us up until, you know, recent years, and I think that and that's why I think, and it's not going away, you know, anytime soon. So I think
No.
you stupid fucking people who are buying a bunch of shit and have storage units, keep going. I'll enjoy my life. You guys keep doing it so that our economy can run. That'd be good.
Yeah. Well, I think that about says it all, man. Really. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, what you got going on the rest of the evening?
I'm gonna have a date night with my wife
Nice.
and my dog child.
Right. Yeah, I saw Gloria run around at the very beginning of this whole thing. I saw her run around the background for a second there, but
Yeah, she's gone now.
yeah, I let Leia out of here a few minutes ago. She was begging to go out the door and go downstairs. But,
Yep.
But yeah, I need to wrap this thing up, man. It's going long.
It won't be because you're gonna cut the front end off. It'll be just the right amount.
I'm going to go back and watch it, and I'll make a command decision, and we'll see what happens. But maybe I'll release two versions. Maybe it would be the director's cut version.
Do what the No. What you should do.
This is episode 144, so it'll be episode 144 and episode 144-1.
No, 0.5. Don't do -1. It's always 0.5.
0.5. All right.
Listen, but what you got to do is you got to do the multiple cuts that the YouTubers do. Do that for the first part where I'm not in it. You know, just get to the interesting parts. You know, just cut around that first part, cut it down a little bit, like the YouTubers do, and then go into this just a straight stream of video.
Yeah, but you know what the YouTubers have is they have fucking interns or people working for them that do all that shit. I do everything myself. So for me to go in and cut up stuff is more work for me, man.
Dude, you're practically retired. You got no other work to do.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a solid point. But, but still. Well, I'll figure it out. We'll see what happens. But
all right.
I'm going to go eat some chuck roast and some veggies, and then I'll figure out what I'm doing with this video.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Well, I enjoyed it. It's been a good time. It was nice talking to you. And
yeah.
Hopefully I'll be talking to you in person here sometime in the near future.
Yep. We come on down. Weather's great.
Oh, I'm sure it is. All right, brother. Well, tell Megan I said hello, and love you guys. I guess we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Love you too. See ya.
Bye.